Hello and thank you for joining us on the Pigskin Preview. Alongside the head coach of the Western Illinois football team, Mark Hendrickson, I'm Andrew Bacon. Last weekend, the Leathernecks took on the South Dakota Coyotes in the Dakota Dome. This was the third meeting between the two, and Coach, it would turn out to be a great game with an even better ending.
It was a great game. It was, I know it was a lot of fun for our players to play in. It was a lot of fun to coach in, and it was even a lot of fun for the fans to watch, and especially the Leatherneck fans who were there in the Dome.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this exciting game. All right, and here we're going to go ahead and skip to the 13th minute of the first quarter, and it will be South Dakota with the ball, as we see the quarterback rushing for a yard, and that's Jonathan Rollins on the tackle. And then here it is Maiten Vander again completing the pass, so this time to Will Powell for no game as Theon Dixon and Martinez Davis is there. And then Marcus Sims here, the running back getting the ball, and it'll be a loss of a yard. Theon Dixon with a great play here, Coach.
Yes, some outstanding defense throughout this entire ball game. Theon Dixon also, of course, later in the game, as we'll see, came up with a big interception for us.
And here it is a pass complete to the running back Sims. That's 13 yards. However, it will be fourth down, and they'll go ahead and kick the field goal. Defense
made them settle for a field goal. Once they got near the red zone, defense got tough, forcing the settle for 3 points.
We're going to go ahead and go back to their next possession here with 6 minutes remaining, and this is Marcus Sims with a couple runs. This is his second one for 6 yards, and then here it is the pass complete to McMartin for 8 yards, and that's Kieran James on the tackle.
Kieran James had a very good game for us, and then later we're going to see Kieran, I'm sure, in several more big highlights.
That's right, and as we see here, that's a big pickup for 19 yards from Marcus Sims.
Yes, they started off running the ball and having some success doing that. And of course, their quarterback ran the ball very effectively against us. And our defense did a very good job throughout the game as we say, bending but not breaking very often. And there's a hit right on the ball by Kieran James. Ball's recovered by number 13, Jonathan Rollins. Rollins also had an outstanding game. Was in a bunch of tackles.
And as you said, Kieran James made several big plays. This is just one of the big plays he made as he causes a fumble, and Rollins gets the ball for the Leathernecks. And so we're going to go ahead and go to the offense now on this possession, and Will Lunt is the starting quarterback.
Will Lunt, was our starting quarterback. We made that decision. As competition went on during the open week, and Will played very well for us Saturday.
And in the game, Will would excel very well, as you said, with 170 yards total by the end of the game. And here we're going to see Will Lunt on third down completing it to Fred Solomon.
Great pass. Only spot that pass could go and not be defended. And, of course, a great catch by Freddie on the other end of it.
That's right, Coach. As they pick up the first down, and now it's handing the ball off to Carlton Ray. The running game has always been solid this whole year so far.
Carlton Ray had a very good game for us, and Nico Watson came through strong again. And that also means that our big guys up front did a good job as well. Andrew Robisky, our center, but captain for us, did an outstanding job of running the old line during the day. Jimmy Horschlag, our big right tackle, did very well too.
And then here it is Carlton Ray getting the ball, and it's 2-yard gain, and then go ahead and switch backs here with Nico Watson in the game. He's going to get a big pickup of 12 yards and the first down.
Very good block there on the edge by 44, Ali Walker. He was back as our tight end. He'd been out for a few games with an injury. We did get Brandon De La Cruz back as well at left guard, number 67. Mike Love, a true freshman, played the game for us at right guard. Did an outstanding job overall.
And then here it's an incomplete pass to Fred Solomon, unable to come up with a catch here. And then Will Lunt is once again going to throw, and he's going to get to Nico Watson. However, he's going to fall just short of the end zone.
Had a chance to get that screenplay in. We just missed a block, and we had a nice wall built for Nico to run that right on in, past those linemen you see there. But they made a good play. They stopped us. We had to settle for the field goal as well. And Pat Smith hit another one. Good snap by Mike Famigletti. Good hold by Cody Reardon right there. Patrick makes it, and the ball game's 3-3.
We're going to go ahead and go to South Dakota's possession now in the second quarter with 3 minutes remaining, and that is a complete pass to Terrence Terry for 16 yards for a first down, and then again another pass, and this time it's to Tyler Wilhelm for 10 yards.
they're offensively, they were effective some of the time and a little bit more early in this game, as we're going to see, rather than later. But our defense, they played very well when they needed to, and especially throughout the second half. Now, this was just right down to the wire before halftime. Their quarterback did hurt us with that read option play. A couple times during the day, that was certainly the longest run that they had from scrimmage right there.
And then another run by Marcus Sims, who had a good night. And then again, it's to Marcus Sims, and he's going to get the touchdown for the Coyotes.
And that put them up 10-3. And, of course, that touchdown, I believe, was with 23 seconds remaining in the first half. And that gave them the 10-3 halftime lead as we went into the locker room at halftime.
That's right, Coach. As you said, the Leathernecks were down 10-3 at halftime. Stay tuned. After the break, we will review the second half. This is the Pigskin Preview.
For others, it may have just been a summer job. But for me, it was training. Now I'm an Air Force pararescueman, and my job is to save lives. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Welcome back to the Pigskin Preview. Coach, going to the locker room down 7, what did you tell the team?
Well, we had a challenge in our hands, playing in the Dakota Dome against a good football team on their homecoming. And, you might say we challenged the team. Our players felt like they could have certainly performed better in the first half on both sides of the ball. And, we decided, we were very determined, put it that way, that we would play better the second half. The defense knew that they could step it up and shut them down. The offense felt like, we hadn't scored a touchdown yet, throughout that first half. They felt like they could score some. And so really laid out a challenge there. Let's pick it up a notch. In fact, let's pick it up a big notch, and let's play very physical. Let's play very aggressive. And the Leathernecks, they came through. The 60 players that were there did pick it up the second half, and that was very evident by being right there on the field and watching the game. We just played very well the second half, for the most part. Defense played outstanding, as we're probably seeing the highlights here. They were 2 for 12 on third downs for the entire game. They're 0 for 2 on fourth down. The only first down, the only third and long they made in the second half was for their touchdown. And unfortunately, we did have a couple of missed tackles, as we'll see, and allowed them, to score in a long pass, which, would have really shut them out the second half. They wouldn't have scored at all if it hadn't been for that one play. So defensively, we played very well.
All right, Coach, let's go ahead and get into the second half and see how the Leathernecks would come back. All right, and we're going to start off with the ball with the Coyotes having the ball here, and it will be a 9-yard pass to Powell. And then again here, it's going to be looking for another pass, and it's going to be to Terrence Terry. Right here, as we see Terrence Terry getting the ball, and that's a 6-yard pickup for the Coyotes.
They started the half off with a couple of throws, but yet we held them. And, of course, there was the big pump block by Kieron James, and it was recovered by Quentin Keating. Kieron, of course, is a starting cornerback for us and a team captain. Quentin Keating is a backup wide receiver for us. Played quite a bit in this ball game as a receiver and came up with the big fumble or the block punt recovery there.
That was a big momentum shift, as we see. Unfortunately, Lunt's pass to Nate Bowman dropped. However, it's going to be a fumble here, and luckily Will Lunt will fall on the ball and retain possession for the Leathernecks.
And so now we've got a third and long situation. Very proud of everybody keeping their poise, and we come up with a big touchdown, and that's from Will Lunt on a play-action pass to number 87, Fredson Solomon, and all of a sudden the ball game's tied up 10-10 with the Pat Smith PAT kick.
That's right, Coach. Fredson Solomon getting his first touchdown as a Leatherneck. And then here we're going to go ahead and see Maton Vander roll now, and he's going to throw it. However, it's intercepted by Theon Dixon, and we're going to take another look at this, a little bit better of a look from the sidelines.
Got a fullback playing actually played by a tight end, but a player coming out from the fullback position, running an out and up the boundary. Theon stayed right with him, and the quarterback laid it up there for his big tight end, but Theon Dixon came up with the pick.
And then again, Will Lunt's going to air it out, and he's going to find a wide open Charles Chestnut for 39 yards, and he's going to fall short just inches.
Another very good play action pass. Great protection, plenty of time for Will, and got the ball downfield to Charles Chestnut. Charles has been banged up. It's great to have him back. As you mentioned, he was just short literally by a few inches, and on the very first play on 1st and goal to go, we bang it in with Carlton Ray, and that puts us up then 17-10.
That's right, Coach. Leathernecks would take the lead, and the comeback has already been initiated. And as we see here, it is South Dakota with the ball, and that's Durley using his speed to make him lose 6 yards.
Number 50, Gino Durley, is now playing defensive end for us. He's a very strong and good athlete. That's a great position for him. Martinez Davis was another one of his big hits coming up right here on a quick hitch play out to a receiver. Number 17 right there, Kevin Kensel, played very well throughout the game. Luke Venegoni was our leading tackler. He had his first start as a Leatherneck at linebacker for us. And there's that play. It was 3rd down and long, and we just, again, they only converted on 2 of 12 third down for the entire game, and that one slipped by a couple of tacklers, and that was their one touchdown in the second half.
That's right. We're going to go ahead and go to the 4th quarter now, and it's Nico Watson getting 12 yards.
And you can tell our offensive linemen have worn them down a little bit, and Jeff Lindsay did a great job at our left tackle spot as well. I believe I've named all those linemen that did an outstanding job for us. Nick Eversmeyer played quite a bit as well. And then, then we came back with what you might call simply a trick play off of our Wildcat formation, and it worked. It literally worked to perfection when Will Lunt gets that pitch back from C-Ray. We've got a couple of receivers, clearly beyond their defenders that were fooled, and he delivers the ball to Fredson Solomon for a big play, big touchdown, and we build on that lead.
And that's right, Coach, as it is now 24-17, and here it's Nico Watson getting another big pickup, and really, Coach is trying to get the clock to run down.
We needed to make first downs and move the ball and let that clock run down, as you just mentioned, Andrew. Again, you can see we had a couple of handoffs in a row there go for 10 yards a shot. Again, good job by the fullbacks, Nate Bowman and Larry Harris up front as well, and Mason Howington as another tight end. And we did wear him down a little bit. And then again in that 4th quarter, it gets tough to tackle Nico Watson with his size and strength. And there's another 10-yard run.
And that's Colton Ray checking into the game here as we take a look at the replay, and that one will be for 9 yards. And, Coach, as you said, just a great ground game going here, and we're going to see Will Lunt use some mobility here, and he's going to get a 9-yard pickup. And
then we had 4th down and about a foot right here. On the 42-yard line going in, there's not a lot of time on the clock, and that was a big decision, but our linemen up front felt like we could get it. We went for it, and Will Lunt ended up with about a 10-yard carry on the quarterback sneak.
That's right, as Nico Watson's going to get another carry, and it will go for no gain here.
We let all the time expire off the clock that we could. Patrick Smith hit a good punt for us. It put them on the 20-yard line, and now they've got to try to drive down the field and tie this ball game up. They had 3 incomplete passes, and then of course it came down to 4th down after this play, and I guess they did complete the pass there on 3rd down, but for a very minimal gain.
Only 4 yards.
Great job on a gang tackle there. And then here's 4th down and 7. The game's on the line. Eddie Holschlag, number 99, gets to the quarterback, knocks the ball loose. There's pressure by number 93-2, Dwight Harris. It was recovered by 46, Luke Venegoni, and that wrapped up the ball game.
As you said, Coach, the Leathernecks wrapped it up here as they would go on to win 24-17. Luke Venegoni would be the leading tackler, as we're going to go ahead and take a look at the box score. All right, and as we said, Will Lunt was the starting quarterback. He was 10 of 20 for 170 yards, 2 touchdowns. Nico Watson had 21 carries for 138 yards. Carlton Ray had 16 carries for 53 yards and a touchdown. As we saw, Fred Solomon had 3 receptions, but over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then, as I said, Luke Venegoni was the leading tackler with 9 and also had the fumble recovery at the end of the game. And then Kieran James with a big night, 6 tackles, a forced fumble, and then he also blocked the punter. Now, Coach, let's go back and break down a couple of key plays for the Leathernecks. All right, and as we're going to see, this first play is going to be the first touchdown to Fred Solomon.
This was a play-action pass. We made a fake to the Will Lunt made a fake to the running back in the backfield, and then it was a stutter and go, as we call it, by Freddie Solomon. He's very quick. He's very fast. He has great feet. So he approached that defender right there and gave him a stutter step as if he was going to stop and break his route off at that point. The defender bit on it, and then, of course, Freddie accelerated on into the end zone for the touchdown catch.
And here we're going to see that trick pass that we were talking about earlier. Very caught the defense just off guard.
It did. Of course, now we're in our wildcat formation, so we're snapping the ball directly to Carlton Ray. He's faking the handoff to Nico Watson, and the defense really feels like we're going to run on this play because those backs probably don't have the ability to pass. And but we ran a reverse, and Carlton Ray made a perfect flip to Will Lunt, and then Will did a great job of keeping his poise, setting his feet, and finding Freddie downfield for the big play of the game.
All right, thank you, Coach. We're going to take another short break, but stay tuned. Up next, we'll hear from Coach Palermo, J.J. Raffleson, and Luke Venigoni. You're watching the Pigskin Preview.
And now, another adventure with Savings Man.
Look, honey, the neighbors just bought a big screen TV.
Hey, I just got a bonus at work. Maybe we should get one too.
Hold on there.
Savings Man.
Using your bonus to secure your future by paying down debt or saving is a better way to go.
Well, I declare you're right, Savings Man.
Stay ahead by choosing to save, and don't worry about keeping up with the Joneses.
But their name is Johnson.
For more tips and tools, visit choosetosave.org today.
Welcome back to the Pigskin Preview. Earlier this week, I got a chance to talk with Coach Palermo, J.J. Raffleson, and Luke Venigoni.
After I was done playing, I knew I wanted to do graduate school, and I'd always been interested in coaching. I didn't know what level I wanted to coach at, if I wanted to be a high school coach or try to coach college. And I ended up talking to Coach Henn after I was done playing in the spring, and he said we have an open spot, and I asked him to keep me in mind, and he kept me in mind. He had me come out during the spring, and I helped out a little bit in the spring. Obviously, I wasn't full-time then. And then I came out in the fall, and that's when I started full-time. So I really owe a lot to Coach Henn for giving me this opportunity to be out here and try to help coach these guys.
Adjusting from being a player to a coach for the Leathernecks has allowed Kevin Palermo to see all the roles from behind the scenes.
It's been different. The camp in those first few weeks were pretty difficult, just trying to figure out your roles and responsibilities and all of that. But, at least I'm still around the game. That's the one thing I really want to do is still be around the game. So it hasn't changed in that aspect. But as a GA, I got to really stay on top of my game with breaking down film, getting that stuff ready for the coaches so they can go in there and be able to pull up certain plays that they want to pull up. I help Coach Sprague specifically with the defensive line. Game day preparation's been different, travel's been different, and it's all the little things that you really don't think about has been a big difference to me. Before it was, you get to kind of relax on the road and do all that, but when you're a coach, you got a lot more little responsibilities you have to worry about, which, I enjoy. I enjoy that kind of stuff. Learning the defensive line, like I said, learning a new position pretty much. It's like coming in and starting over and learning something completely fresh and new. And, it's a new defense from what I played my 4 years here. And I've been able to go out, change up positions, really learn from some great coaches and great former players. And, I really appreciate them, help me out. Coach Sprague's really been there and helped me out and teaching me the ways and how to do things the right way, because being a first-year GA, you don't know exactly what you have to do, but it's been good that he's been there to help me. Game day. Game day is the biggest thing I miss. It's different. You have to have that coaching-player relationship now. You can't be buddies with them. You can't go hang out on the field with them. But I'm still able to go out there and talk to JJ and Theon and Luke pregame and stuff, and talk to them after practice. See hey, how's this feel when you do this? We're in this, and just be able to talk to them and really get a good feel for, and help them out as much as I can, because as a player, JJ was always in my ear and Luke was in my ear asking me questions. Theon was on the field with me, and we bounced ideas off of each other. But now as a coach, I'm able to just tell them hey, how's this feel? If they have questions, I can answer them a little bit differently, I guess.
From day one, he was always helping me out, and just in film, I kind of see watch this, see how my feet are here, this and that. Just watching him every game, every practice, seeing how he played, and it really helped me just become the player that I am now. He has helped me, he's mentored me ever since I came in here, and even as he's a coach, he still coaches me like he's a player. But everything he's done for me has been great, and I appreciate it all.
He helped me be a leader, and watching Kevin as a player, he was really aggressive and helped me become more aggressive in my play. I have to take him a little more seriously, even though I try not to, but it hasn't changed much. We're still friends. He's still a leader to me. He's always helped me out when I need help with anything, and I know I can go to him if I need help.
I'd say our relationship hasn't really changed much. I mean, yeah, like Luke said, you got to take him a little bit more seriously, but he's still the same guy I knew when I first came in here, and it's been great getting to know him, and he just helps me all the time, and I appreciate everything he's done for me. I mean, it's nice to get some notice, I guess, but, you know, really when it comes down to it, that's not what I'm here to do, is to win an award. I'm here to just get some wins and play together with the team. But when it's all said and done, it's nice, it's a good feeling, but we just got to keep trucking along and get some wins.
Kevin Palermo was a huge asset as a player for the Leathernecks during his tenure. Last year, he was named a captain and a co-MVP. Coach, how key has it been having Kevin Palermo back as a coach this time?
Well, there's a lot of big pluses for having a young man like Kevin Palermo on our coaching staff now. Of course, his junior year, Kevin was a main player for us. You know, at the linebacker spot in 2010 when we were entered the national playoffs, picked up a victory in the first round of the playoffs. Kevin had a lot to do with that. One, he was an outstanding player on the field and a good leader off the field as a junior. And then, of course, his senior year, who was selected as a captain by his teammates. The leading tackler on a very good defense his senior year, and of course a very good student off the field in the classroom. And so he's now in graduate school at Western Illinois. He's a graduate assistant for us. He has a lot of responsibilities and works very close with Coach Brian Ward, our defensive coordinator, and the defensive staff. And so between being a full-time graduate student and basically a full-time college coach, you know, Kevin is very busy, but he handles it very well. He's very professional, and for a young man who just is 1 year removed from being a player, you know, he's handled it very well. He's a great asset to the coaching staff.
As you said, Coach Palermo was a big leader, and he led several of the linebackers, showed them how to play the linebacking position. Two of those guys being J.J. Raffleson and Luke Venigoni. Can you talk about what they've done this year so far?
Well, both of those young men have played very well. J.J. our leading tackler in the first four ball games, and then in the fifth ball game in our victory over South Dakota, you know, Luke earned his first start as a Leatherneck, and he was the leading tackler in that ball game. Now J.J. and Luke line up side by side. They're not the same linebacker position, so they both had a year with Kevin Palermo when Kevin was a player. I know Kevin passed a lot of information, a lot of coaching tips on to him at that time, and he continues to do that now as actually, you know, a coach on the staff.
And that's a big reason why J.J. Raffleson is on the Jerry Rice watch list currently right now, as he is a redshirt freshman. He has really stepped up his game for the Leathernecks.
Yes, J.J. has been very productive, and it's good to know that we've got him for 4 seasons. And Luke Venigoni came in very well prepared, played last year as a true freshman. And, of course, now he's playing very well as a true sophomore.
And they are very grateful that Kevin Palermo is back to continue helping them this year. All right, now this weekend the Leathernecks will once again travel to South Dakota, but this time it's to face the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. Currently the Jackrabbits are 4-1 overall, 2-0 in conference, and are coming off a bye week. Coach, what else can you tell us about South Dakota State?
Well, South Dakota State's a very good football team. They lost game 1 to the University of Kansas of the Big 12. And then they've recorded 4 victories in a row since then, 2 of them in the Missouri Valley Football Conference, where they stand at 2-0 with their record. They were off this past Saturday, so they had an open week, a bye week, so they helped them heal up a little bit, get a little healthier, and they've had 2 weeks to prepare for us. So we've got a challenge on our hands going up to visit them in Brookings, South Dakota, and of course their running back leads the nation, the entire nation, in rushing with 215 yards per game.
That's right, their running back has just been phenomenal, and most people thought Shakir Bell would be the running back leader, but he's really stepped up and really shown Shakir Bell there's another running back here in the Missouri Valley Conference. All right, we're going to take another quick break, but stay tuned. Up next, we'll take a look at the Missouri Valley Conference thus far. Welcome back. Here are the scores of the Missouri Valley teams from last weekend. Youngstown State lost to North Dakota State 48-7, and that was a huge game as they were both top 10 ranked, with North Dakota State being the #1 team in FCS and Youngstown being the #3. Illinois State lost to Southern Illinois in a big upset there, 17-0, as Illinois State was the 9th team and now they fall back to the 14th team. Indiana State beat Missouri State 31-17. And then Northern Iowa and South Dakota State each have a bye week, and as we said, Western beat South Dakota. Let's go ahead and take a look at the standings, as currently North Dakota State, as we said, a very good team, is unbeaten. South Dakota State are currently 4-1, 2-0 in conference, and then Illinois State, Indiana State, and Southern Illinois are all 2-1 in conference. Youngstown and Western Illinois are 1-1, and then South Dakota, Northern Iowa, and Missouri State each looking for a win in the Missouri Valley Conference. Let's go ahead and take a look at the games this weekend, as Youngstown State will play Illinois State, Northern Iowa will play Southern Illinois, South Dakota will play against Missouri State, Indiana State will take on North Dakota State, and then, as we said, Coach, Western will take on South Dakota State. Big game for the Leathernecks, and up in South Dakota once again. Of course, a big slate of games for the Missouri Valley. That's right, Coach. Now it is time for the 2-minute drill, and so our first question, Coach, is what's your favorite sports movie? Favorite sports movie of all time? Boy, there's been a lot of them that I've enjoyed over the years. I guess one that certainly pops out to me right now would be the movie Remember the Titans. That's a phenomenal football movie. It's a true story, so I always enjoy movies that are based on something that happened and in real life, so to speak. And that one happened, and it obviously it's a great movie. Points out a lot of good things about not just football, but what the world of sports can do, for everybody in everyday life. So that one certainly comes to the top of my list when I think about it. Very good movie, Coach. And then the next question that we have here is your son, Davis Hendrickson, as obviously he plays baseball for University of Illinois. How's his experience been there so far? Davis is a senior this year at the University of Illinois. He's been on the baseball team all of his years there. He's really enjoyed being a student athlete. He's majoring he's a double major within the College of Business, in business management and in marketing. He's a very good student, and I'm proud of that. And then on top of that, he's been very successful on the baseball field too. For the Illini, he plays right field for him. His sophomore year, it was a lot of fun for him. They won the Big Ten championship in the regular season. They won the Big Ten tournament, which Illinois had never done before. They won both in the same year. And then he went on and was named to the NCAA All-Regional team out in California. And the team played well out there, as Davis did. So he's really enjoyed his time with the University of Illinois. He'll graduate this spring, and then he'll have to figure out what to do next. And Coach, I noticed that coming out of high school, he was ranked 26th in the nation in the state of Illinois. It's a very good standing, shows athletic family. He's a good ball player. In high school, he played football. He enjoyed playing football and basketball as well as baseball. Played all three sports, all 4 years, and really enjoyed his time at Macomb High. All right, well, that's all the time we have for you this week on the Pigskin Preview. For head coach Mark Hendrickson, I'm Andrew Bacon. Thanks for watching.